Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today we're going to mix and master a melodic trap beat right inside of FL Studio. Let's hop straight into it. So I have some new go-to plugins that I'm really liking. The first one being Standard Clip. I actually like this above K-Clip. K-Clip has a cool sound, but Standard Clip gives me a little bit more push as far as the sound. So here's the beat before. What we're going to do is run through a clipper first to add more harmonics and more punch to some of the kicks in this track. So we're going to load up Standard Clip. I just bought this for like 25 bucks. It's really good. I used to overlook this because I'm like, it's a 25 buck plugin. I thought I could just use the other plugins that I had, which could be true, but it's just different. Okay, so what I'm going to do is lower this clip amount until I start scraping the transients. And if I'm not getting the transients, I'll push going into the plugin, usually with some kind of fader before this plugin, but we could also just use the gain knob right here to boost going in. And I have to determine what are you like turning off of the sound. So let's cut out like 3 dB. If I exaggerate this, you'll hear. That's what I know. Whenever you hear an 808 go like, that's because they're using a clipper to do that for the most part. So we're pushing it to where it's like barely messing with the sound, because this sound is more clean. It's not like where we're gonna slam it into the clip. Now, if I wanted to slam, I'll push it harder, which is just too heavy. Okay, so nextly, they have this thing called a soft clip saturator. There's different modes here. You can mess with each mode. Let's try this classic mode. Now this is pleasant because there's not a lot of low mid information. It's just the 808. So when you saturate the 808, it's filling in where other instruments would be, like a kick or the low end of your instruments. So it doesn't sound too full and clogged up. So we're just shaving off those transients so that we can turn the entire volume back up. And here's where you can mess with the gain. But before we get into the gain, let's open up iZotope Ozone 11. This is becoming one of my favorite tools because they've added so many things inside of this one plugin. Before, I used to use Ozone 9. Now we started on Ozone 5. That was like my little secret for beat making. There's a gnat around here. And then I moved into Ozone 7, and then Ozone 9, and then Ozone 10, and then 11. So Dave Godowski sent me this from Native Instruments / iZotope. And I overlooked it because, one, I was busy, but two, I didn't realize how many new features they had. And it's actually a useful feature. It's not a feature it's just some rare, like unknown, unused thing. All right, so now we up the sample rate, and let's start with a compressor. Let's go with dynamics first. Let's go to all mode, and let's just solo different bands. So bass, I usually keep below 100. Low mids, we could start somewhere around 1K. Okay, so for the bass, we're going to limit these only because I want that bass to be stable instead of moving around. So I'm only going to limit it until it pulls out about 3 dB. Let me see if I turn off Standard Clip, will we gain some CPU back? Okay, there we go. With these visually active plugins, when I record, it gets messy sometimes. Okay. Mess with the low mids now. Now with the low mids, I'm just looking for dynamic. So here I'm just looking for more curvature than trying to stabilize something. I don't want the beat to sound stale. I just want it to move a little bit around the low mids. So we're looking for the transient of the 808 and some of the percussive elements. So I'm gonna make sure that low end of the hi-hat is there and the snare. So it's just a little movement, not a lot. The hi-hats I'm not gonna mess with, the high end. And then nextly, let's move into, now with vocals, I would usually go into clarity at this point, but nextly, let's go into EQ1, number 1. And then let's check the mid and side information. Notice how quiet it sounds without the clipper. So to compensate for now, I'm just gonna up the gain so we we can actually hear. Let's go to mid-side mode. Let's solo the side. And now I have to ask, what do I want to do about the sides? If I wanted to widen out in the low mids, this is a nice area to add warmth to your track without overwhelming the mid signal. So this is a nice area to check. Let's make this a little more narrow. So now I'm boosting around 300, but on the sides. And this is going to add like this warmth, people call it. It's just like an ambiguous frequency, but it's on the side, so it hugs the listener as opposed to gets in the way of stuff. You got to be careful with that because it can mess with the dynamics of your track if you boost too much. Let's go to the mid, solo. I like the highs, so let's boost those a little bit. Now let's boost like 60 hertz. Again, with visually intensive plugins like this, it's fighting against my video recorder, so they're not playing too well. All right, now I found that 60 and 75 hertz tend to make the car rumble, so that's why I'm focused on those. So nextly, we can move into an exciter to add more harmonics to this track. I usually excite the lows. Let's see. Let's find the more smooth lows, like below 80 in this case, and let's saturate them until we have a different shape. Basically, you hear that. Okay, so I like that tone, so let's pull it back. Now the low end is more filled out. Make sure we're off of mid mode. There we go. Let's A/B to see how far we've come so far. Here's before. Here's after. So it has a little more punch in that kick. Let's try the impact, which is what I thought was going to initially use. This is more for transients. So we have to ask, what do we want to be more pointy? And for me, it's going to be this top end of the bass. And that just adds a little more dynamic so our ear can kind of catch on to the movement. So I'm adding it to the kick into that clap, more transient. Transients are important because it's needed for the ear to find stuff interesting. It also makes the beat feel more open as opposed to closed in. Nextly, here's the real secret. It's called the maximizer. So let's load this up. This thing is a beast. Let's put it on modern mode. And let's go to the upper compression. This fills out all the gaps of your track. So those plugins that I like, and I'm finding a really dope sound with them. Again, we'll figure out this recording situation. If you want to learn more, go to busyworksbeats.com. Peace out, guys, and subscribe if you're new. Like the video, share with a friend. Peace.